Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Turner Podcasting System. I'm here today once again with my co-host, the Stinger. How you doing, Stinger?
I'm great. How about you guys? How's Montreal? Hey, how's that weather, man? It's minus 30 something outside.
It's beautifully cold. I don't
Beautifully
know,
cold.
it's so cold that it makes my brain like I can't even think when I go outside. It's like my
Yeah,
brain starts shutting
it
down.
freezes. It freezes.
It's
I'm
not.
frozen. Frozen, bro, from Disney's for sure.
Yeah. So as we did last week, we did Mayhem. That was a all right pay-per-view. We said it was a little bit boring. The storylines were I guess we were
Repetitive.
so used to the craziness that it's like, where's the craziness?
Yeah, repetitive too, kind of
Yeah, but yeah,
full of run-ins.
it was predictable though, I would say. It was a
Super,
predictable
super,
pay-per-view.
super
So
predictable.
now
Yeah.
what we're gonna do is, as we said, we're gonna do all the Nitros up until the end of 2000. And so starting with this one, it was on 11/27/2000. So November 27, 2000. It's from Rockford, Illinois. So that's
Metro Center.
somewhere
Yeah.
near Chicago.
Yeah, the Metro Center back in the
Yeah.
day.
And the number one song on the radio at the time was Independent Women Part 1 by Destiny's Child. The number
Oh my
one
God.
movie in the box office was Jim Carrey's How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
So just to put it in context.
I saw that in Famous Player, Mel Carnaval.
Oh, yeah.
Big time, man. Then we went to Zellers after, but yeah, good old days, man, for sure.
Yeah, so this show would have taken place 2 days after Christmas. So maybe you saw that during the Christmas holidays.
Definitely.
I remember seeing The Grinch Stole Christmas as being one of the first DVDs on like a DVD shelf, like when the stores started transitioning from VHS to DVD. That's one of the movies that they bought on like both. It's like, oh
yeah, because they were all over the place. You'd walk in Walmart, Zellers, and you'd see a whole rack of the Grinch. They even had a big sign there. It was huge. It was heavily promoted back in the day in stores locally as well. So
that Christmas
sure.
was like quite
Man,
Grinched out.
It was boom.
So the commentators, there's no Stevie Ray. Like I guess well, we'll figure that out later.
Yeah, no commentary.
No Stevie Ray on commentary started.
For sure. So we have Tony Schiavone, Mark Madden, Scott Hudson.
Yeah. And then it starts out with a very like 2000s, you had to be there in 2000s kind of thing. The first skit is like, as we say in Quebec, par rapport avec wrestling.
Vraiment par rapport with the president. Like, yeah, the newly elected president, which they did because the president running up was in 2000. It was when the votes were coming, so it was really 2000s. There was
there was an election going on at the time.
That's it. They had Al Gore, George W. Bush, and if I remember, John Kerry.
No, that was possible? The next one. It was Al Gore.
The next one. Bush. It was Al Gore.
And they were like taking a long time to figure out who won the election. So it was like all over the news. So then out of nowhere, there's like some guy, he's like, oh, we're going to say it. And then Jeff Jarrett just hits him with a guitar. And
out of nowhere.
That's the beginning of the show.
Out of nowhere.
So then it starts out with the horrible Nitro theme song, which sounds like a Matrix soundtrack reject song or Blade, some kind of 2000s.
Yeah. Like techno-ish.
Techno, yeah.
Trance-ish type of theme, which I think also ruined Nitro a bit because even the new logo, I thought it was cool back in the day, but looking at it now, I'm just like, bro, why?
The new logo, like they're making changes, but for the worse.
They're trying to be extreme. Yes.
One thing also, like they stopped using like matte the matte doesn't have anything printed on it anymore. Like
no, it's all plain and gray blackish type.
Yeah, and the turnbuckles are just plain black. And now on Nitro, I think they were just getting lazy and they're using blue ropes.
Yeah, so like it was the same set of Thunder,
like Thunder ropes. Who cares?
Yeah, they're like yeah, no one's gonna this place is going to shit anyway. So
it's like who cares about the details anymore? When the guys stopped giving a fuck. But to me, that looked bad. It's starting to look like...
I did realize that. I said blue, but usually it's orange, Nitro, man. Or red. Orange,
blue
red.
Is the Thunder.
Blue
and gray.
Man.
Like the ring was like a Thunder ring.
That's it.
I think they might have been taping Thunder and Nitro on the same nights at this point to cut down the costs.
I think Nash said that. Nash said in an interview, in a shoot interview, actually, he's like, man, we had to do like 6 hours of shooting, one shot. No one wanted to do like, on Monday, like you said. So you could be right, actually, Prez. They did do everything simultaneously, explaining why they were so lazy. Everything was rushed and it was out of nowhere because they're like, yo, we have 2 days to write 6 hours or whatever of show.
Yeah, and they definitely, yeah. So it feels rushed in general, for sure. And we will try to do we'll just haven't chosen which one yet, but we'll do a Thunder, at least one. Well, we'll do a couple, but we'll choose one soon.
By the way, Prez, I'm getting a lot of Terry Funk vibe from you at the moment for some reason. Terry Funk, the legend, bro.
That was the point. That was
Terry Funk. I knew it. Terry Funk.
Yeah, man. So before we get into the show, any memories of 2000 Christmas break?
Okay, so I remember my mom asked me, what did you want for Christmas? And I never did the list and mom get me this, or for Santa, I would tell her up front what I wanted. So we went to Toys R Us to go check what was there. And I ended up walking in to see all the WWF Jakks figures on special. Bro, they went from $9 to $4.99, $3.99, including Jim Cornette. The Jim Cornette that's like this, that cannot move, or Vince as well.
Yeah,
remember those? Yeah, he was really not articulate. So I went there, but my gift was amazing because I got it in November. I didn't get it in December. My mom brought me Toys R Us, so I ended up getting Smash and Slam and Crunch. They all costed $9.99. I got maybe 10 of them, or I think 12 of them. Roddy Piper, Buff Bagwell. So I was looking forward, man. That was the biggest memory for me in 2000, especially that my love for wrestling was at its peak at that time.
Yeah.
Like it was
get
just
some awesome
golden.
Figures for Christmas.
Absolutely. So at the time I was 12, and I'm just thinking of this. I even thought of that when I was watching Nitro. I said, "Oh shit, I remember going to Toys R Us on Tachereau, les amis," and ended up picking.
It's
still there, by the way. So great memory, and I was just looking forward to our beautiful 2 weeks off. So lots of things was going on in WWF, and obviously WCW was always lackluster, but great memory for sure. All the music, the movies coming out, DVD was just exploding everywhere out of nowhere. So it was good times, man. For music too.
Oh yeah. It was a great time for media. It was like the cable era.
It was the cable era, and it was at its prime.
Cable, you're set. Like you got
Dude,
cable.
It was where it was going on. Like internet we had, but no one, we were more still on cable than internet.
Internet
then they plugged
was
a lot of
cool to like go look up info.
Yeah.
Because that was still at the time where like it was like before the internet, if you would have an argument with someone, you could never really prove who was right before the internet.
No, exactly. Now people pull out pages. They're like, wait,
it's like, look,
so, and you have proof right there. But before it was so limited, the internet, you still didn't have much answers, if you know what I mean. Like today we have millions of sites, we can, Google will answer any question, you write it. Yeah. Pretty much.
And you can watch all kinds of crazy old media.
Oh, we did not have that in 2000. So
we had like QuickTime videos.
QuickTime. Oh my God, dude, it took so long. And Real Player, exactly. And then you had Macromedia Flash before it became Flash Player. It was Macromedia, and a lot of videos
download a video and it still wouldn't work for some reason. Like
that's it.
This is the shits.
That's it, bro.
And all right, so basically, let's get into it. This show once again is sponsored by Backstage Assault all the time.
Oh God.
Of course, this was like their Christmas offering, and I seen I was watching some reviews actually to get back into the mindset of what really was Backstage Assault like, because I had only played it a couple times, and like they couldn't even shape the guys' heads like an oval. The guy's head shaped like, I don't know, like this bottle.
Dude, it looked like
head shaped like this cup.
Dude, the hands and the way they stood, they were like, dude, I didn't even look at reviews. I actually emulated it on my PS1 emulator, and it's totally garbage. Plus, the theme song is Natural Born Thrillers song throughout the whole. So, bro, not only did you see that theme on the pay-per-views all the time and on the shows, you had to hear it while you were in the main menu of the game, dude. But the background graphics were amazing. I loved all the pictures. Also, I don't know if you checked it out, John, but when you pick a character, it's absolutely horribly done. I don't know.
They show how to like the guy's like doing his moves like to no one.
Yeah, exactly, dude. And the way you pick, it's not like, you open up and you have all your characters. It's like one category that you have to go left and right, but it's one square. So you have to scroll up and down, up and down, up and down, and then move to right, up and down. So
oh yeah,
really not made. I don't know what
it's not user
EA was.
friendly.
No, at all, man.
Yeah. So they started off, the one constant that WCW had started off with a good old cruiserweight match.
Yeah,
it's
3 count versus Corporal
against,
Cajun,
yeah,
Lieutenant Loco.
Yeah. So four great cruiserweights of the time. Yeah, so it's basically the fallout from the pay-per-view, kind of like Helms and Moore had broken away from their sort of leader he was, like Evan Courageous. So they're just a tag now. And Loco and Cajun are trying to like move their way up the tag ranks. They were like a decent team.
Yeah, definitely. They're like, I found those two were great wrestlers, and it makes sense kind of to put them together because you have two great wrestlers, young guys, cruiserweights. It's just the storyline was like the way it unfolded is just weird because later on we see Yang wrestling the most random.
Yeah, why would he
opponent,
have a singles match of all people?
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So in that sense, it was so weird, man. Honestly, so
definitely, there it was kind of like, it really felt like patched together. Like this isn't like the fall of Vince Russo. Like he had done like so much damage that they're trying to like, I think they were trying to not do a hard restart again because they had already done one like less than a year before. So they're like, okay, we can't like destroy all the storylines that we had just done.
Yeah, they couldn't go back. So they had to, like you said, perfectly said, patch over what the fuck they planned out. So, because like imagine you wrote up a whole plan and then he's not there anymore, and you're like, yo, we don't have time to redo this. Let's just add some bullshit on it. And
that's it, exactly.
Like putting an ingredient that doesn't belong in a dish, and you're like, oh,
it'll make it work anyways. We don't have white wine, just put vinegar. It works. So basically, yeah. The night before on Mayhem, they had said like, remember Flair's like, there's not going to be any interference. Yeah. And then already that night there was, and that was like a major
pointless announcement. Yes, super fail.
Well, in this match, right away, there's more interference as Jamie Noble and Evan Courageous come down and bring out a ladder. Like, I guess these guys were they were trying to push these guys into like a tag team ladder feud, which was making huge money in WWE at the time between the
Hardys with the Hardys and the Dudleys and Edge and Christian. So that was super solid. And again, WCW always ripped everything from movies to music to the other show, which is WWF. But they just didn't have the roster with charisma, I find. Like, I like these guys. They're young, they're up and coming, but they projected them way, like they're competing against the Hardys. There's no way.
No, that's it. They didn't.
No chance.
They weren't established enough to like, for anyone to really care about them having a ladder match. Like none of them ever won the tag titles. At least Edge and Christian and the Hardys were having tag title matches. But the WCW mentality is like, okay, put them in a tag match because, it must be the ladder match that's getting over. It's like, no. The fans were already invested in Edge and Christian and the Hardys.
Absolutely.
And then the feud upped it, and then they brought in the Dudley Boys, which like even took it even farther.
Exactly. And all those tag teams had a huge base after, like they already had a base, and then with that became even bigger. So yes, you have to choose the right roster and put in, remember, they're all seasoned. So keep in mind, Edge and Christian, the Hardys, Dudleys, they were seasoned tag teams. Yeah, you can't just project new guys. And I respect WCW for trying to push them, but as a product itself, as a show, no, you know, like it
They're
doesn't
just
work.
sending these kids out there to get hurt on these ladders.
That's it. And I
Basically.
respect the wrestlers in WCW for trying, you know, so big props to
Well,
them.
they were
But
trying to like become
100%.
stars, you know. They're on
I agree.
TV. They're
I
on
agree.
TBS, man.
I agree, man. Superstation, bro.
Like
Atlanta.
as bad as the ratings of WCW were at the time of this Nitro, did you know that the Nitro ratings at that time were way better than AEW's ratings now, Raw's ratings now, SmackDown's ratings now?
Yes, I saw on. It's funny you say this. I saw an article on the internet that was actually saying that. Like now we have great product with AEW. Don't get me wrong. You have MMA fighters coming in, American Top Team coming in. You have great wrestlers, and you're still getting lower ratings than what we had back in the day, which was
In
absolutely
WCW
crap.
at its absolute worst, there was still like quite a bit of people following it.
Yes, I think the different era of superstars makes a big effect because, bro, back in the day we had the classics, we had all the superstars. We still have superstars today. Don't get me wrong, amazing talent, but it's not as
they haven't built
it's not
up as many
legendary.
stars
Exactly, bro.
as were needed.
Kind of like the NHL. We've been talking about
Yeah,
that. Kind of the same
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
They have great players, but bro, back in the day, the roster was insane. So automatically, by default, your rating should be higher, even though if it was a shitty product.
Yeah, it is a good comparison. Like the NHL guys today are more skilled than the guys in the 90s, but the guys in the 90s felt like way bigger stars.
They
like,
were.
Like just an example, Felix Potvin. He never won a Stanley Cup or anything, but this guy was a star. He's more of a star than like Vasilevsky, who's just won 2 Stanley Cups for Tampa Bay.
Exactly, or Curtis Joseph is better than Markstrom that plays for
there
Calgary.
You go. And Joseph never even won a Stanley Cup either, but he was a superstar.
No, and each team had many superstars, man. It's crazy. Like when I was looking at the roster last time in the All Stars, holy man, they had a lot of superstars. Don't get me wrong, all the new gen players are amazing, more skilled, precise, stronger, faster. Like
but it's
game
the same thing
evolved.
as wrestling too, you know.
Same thing has exactly. It has evolved in something different, and I think that's why. Plus, also wrestling fans are wrestling fans. So all of us are either new gen or most of us are old school, where we've watched all that wrestling and now we watch this. So it plays a lot.
Hard to compare, yeah.
It's very hard to compare. So
yeah, definitely. So up next we get Mean Gene interviewing the big bad booty daddy, as he refers to himself in this promo, Scott Steiner, brand new world champion. How do you like these in-ring interview promos compared to backstage?
Yeah, I mean they started doing that. I think also WWF did that a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Jim
so
Ross would do them, or Vince himself would do them sometimes.
Exactly. And they were pretty effective in WWF. So they tried to do that WCW right away. You know, they're trying to be like WWF. So you know, everything's ripped off. Let's just say. Also, Steiner's funny because he just goes ape shit. And he always somehow talks about his sexual prowess and skills out of nowhere in an interview. I really do think that testosterone was super elevated at that time because he was ripped, bro.
And he's talking about like banging multiple women while like his like I guess girlfriend Medeja's
like, right there and she's clapping. She's like,
she's like, yeah, it's all good.
She taps him. She's like, yeah, that's my man. But he was in physical shape, man. He was definitely at his peak.
Oh yeah, dude, he was
his freaks and his peaks. That's all that mattered, man.
Yeah, he literally says that in the promo. He goes over all his catchphrases at the time.
But this is the first promo as a champion, right? Because he won the belt the night before, and this is actually his first promo as a champion. And don't, put in mind that he destroyed Goldberg, Sting, Booker T. So we're just like, hey, who's next for this guy?
Yeah, and he says the same thing in the promo. So, then he gets interrupted by Flair, who like he in real life apparently hated, or at one time
called him an old bastard, bro, and got suspended.
Yeah,
in Nitro, I think it was. Yeah, they suspended him. I remember
in the glory days of Nitro. So then Flair says, okay, we're gonna build the show around you because I really respect you as a champion, but I want you to like prove who you are as a champion. So you're gonna have a lot of big like des défis. You're gonna have like hard challenges in front of you. So this is basically the last main event storyline of WCW. Like Flair being the GM or the president, CEO, whatever he is, and Steiner being his champion is basically the feud that is going on when WCW goes out of business. Yo.
So it was the first major one, the last major one, and Flair again came out of retirement. Like he just didn't want to rest. He always wanted to be in the main event, and so yeah, I do agree. It was the last one. Steiner was the last one trailing after as well. The belt. As we said, the last Nitro was Booker T versus Steiner for the belt, right? I
Just
think
when I seen those two together, like in those roles, I was like, okay, this really reminds me of the end of WCW.
Yeah,
like, yeah. So then Stevie Ray comes out. So he was backstage. He wasn't doing commentary, and he confronts Steiner, and he challenges him to a match. It's going to be career versus title.
Yeah.
And Flair says that he's going to introduce Steiner's Starrcade opponent later in the night, but that's not Stevie Ray. Stevie Ray is his opponent for tonight.
Right.
What's funny is that I've seen in a shoot interview, or maybe just as a Twitter reply, people asking Stevie Ray, like, why don't you have like one last match? And he's like, I never had a retirement match, actually. But I think he's just like, oh, no one's going to remember that random Nitro. No one was watching WCW back then.
But they did indeed. So that's pretty funny, yeah. Because
maybe he legit forgot. He's like, oh,
yeah, for sure, And he's not Booker T. Obviously, loves Stevie Ray, great wrestler, and he was one of the best tag teams with Booker T. But I would think that too. Back
people remember more the career of Booker T.
Yeah, of course, man, for sure. So by the way, when this happened, I was kind of confused because I'm like, as a wrestler career ending or an announcer? Because literally last month you were announcing, plus we haven't seen you since that god awful Harlem Heat 2000.
Oh, Harlem Heat 2000.
NWO, then Harlem Heat 2000 with Ahmed Johnson, but Big T and Midnight. So like I was like, oh, okay, a career versus a title match, such typical. Is that Russo, you think?
I think Russo was gone by now.
Do you think they rehashed or recycled one of his ideas, or no? They're like,
I heard that Russo really likes Stevie Ray, because at one point they still might actually had a podcast together. Like somehow those two got along.
Really, that's super random, by the way. Super random, dude. So,
but I don't know, like Nitro, I guess they thought this might do a rating.
Well, yeah, because he just crushed his brother, and then they're like, his big brother's gonna step in. So I think they were making Steiner to the next Goldberg. He was just demolishing everyone, making it personal too, because it's Booker T's brother that wants to defend him.
Once again, this brings me back to a point from Mayhem. Like, okay, that's not a bad idea for an angle. But my only problem with it is that it's so predictable. Like, obviously, Stevie Ray is not winning the world title.
Yeah. Like, you knew that there was no way that this guy was going to win against Scott Steiner. Like, if it was a Lex Luger or a Goldberg.
We know the outcome of the storyline right when they start.
So you're sad already. You're like, oh, man, now he's going to beat his brother down, bro. He's just going to crush him, too. So you knew right away.
At the time, you have Raw playing on the other channel. So if I'm watching this in my mind, I'm like, okay, I already know who's winning the main event. So I'm switching.
Flipping back. So
yeah,
definitely agree there, bud.
Yeah. So backstage, we have Disco and Alex Wright. They're trying to hire Chronic again, like they did the night before.
Dude, this is still going on, by the way. Yes, everyone, this is still going on. The whole APA ripoff thing. Obviously, Boogie Nights don't have enough money to hire them again because they're just broke.
So they have to find another solution.
Oh my god, which you'll love, by the way.
Yeah, it is quite hilarious. I hate them, but it's hilarious, actually.
Yeah, two big guys. But then we cut what?
Sorry.
Yeah, preparing. So we cut to Hugh Morris getting ready for Bigelow. Bam Bam. Actually, we saw a lot of Bam Bam in this era.
Yeah, his return.
Like super randomly.
But he's like kind of lazy. He looks bigger than ever. He's just wearing like a t-shirt over his tights.
lazier than Nash, or
No, he was not lazier than Nash.
so
We'll get to later.
acceptable, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Bigelow, it's gonna be Bigelow and MIA they have a feud going on. So Bigelow and Erection. The next match we get, extremely random. It was decent, but extremely random. Jimmy Yang against Landstorm.
Dude, it was super random because I was watching that and then it cuts to these two and I'm like, Yang, and good talent, don't get me wrong, but super random. So again, doesn't fit with their storyline. Like, dude, everything's all over the place.
I thought like the Young Dragons technically were heels. So I thought at first that like they were gonna be a team. I'm like, what the hell? These two as a team, who are they gonna fight against?
Yeah.
And then they fought each other. I was like, that's even maybe more random.
It is, dude. It's
like
a twist.
Heel.
Yeah, like super random. To be honest, this worked better than some of the matches, but like, great talent, but the ending always continues to defy logic, and this is the theme, continuing to defy logic in the endings of the matches in WCW, dude. So, plus Yang is not really getting a push out of this. Like, yes, he is, as in mid single event.
Yeah, like, he's getting like some kind of look here as a singles competitor.
Not enough though.
No. Yeah, there's like a little cat fight in the match between Major Guns and Liam Meow.
Liam Meow was crazy.
I thought Storm looked really good in this match though, like compared to like against Direction. I always like Storm against a more athletic guy, because then it's like
because really they can work together beautifully. Exactly. Hugh Morris is a bigger guy, etc. So Yang's a cruiserweight for sure. He works great. Lance is very agile as well.
Oh yeah.
So it brings it out in him when he does wrestle an agile
another agile guy. Yeah,
exactly. So 100%.
So somehow the cat once again, goddamn interference when there's not supposed to be any. So yeah, this is the second match and there's interference, 2 matches for 2, when this was said probably literally 24 hours ago on the pay-per-view. There's not going to be any more people at ringside. There's not going to be any more interference. But Jimmy Wang picks up the win over Landstorm.
Yeah, so Storm gets another loss on it, and again it's setting something up against the cat. So this was basically WCW in a nutshell. They're always trying to set up the next move during a match, or
you can't just let the match happen and then like have something else happen the next week.
Exactly. So
like, fit like 5 pounds of
pretty much, and this was what killed the product. And ultimately with the show is exactly that, is they were trying to always think of the next move during the current move. So I mean, it explains the randomness and just the silliness in the storylines. Again, it was to set up a match down the line with Landstorm and the cat. So
yeah, who we had already seen wrestle each other on pay-per-view, like
just like so it was just,
and it wasn't even a good feud in my opinion.
It wasn't. They're like, so who do we have now? We gotta beef up. So we're making a patty, we need a filler. So they're just a filler of the show, I think, right? Because again, all the big stars didn't want to come into work. Evan will come. Yang will wrestle for us. It's okay.
And like, even on this show, we still got to keep in mind, like, Hogan was still under contract here.
Yep, getting paid.
Scott Hall, all these guys, Flair, but he's not wrestling. He's at least appearing on the show. He's at least somewhat earning his money.
For sure. So cuts to commercial. So post break, Storm's yelling at Jim Duggan.
Yeah,
we're not having his back.
That they didn't come out. Him and
he's super mad. Absolutely.
And he's like, Duggan, you're supposed to be the veteran. Like,
yeah, exactly. So like, where the fuck were you? Boogie Nights go to the Harris brothers. Actually, your boys, your favorite. You should admit they're one of your favorite tag teams of all time.
One of my least, definitely least. But you know what? At this in this role that they're doing on this show, I didn't mind them that much.
Yeah, they were annoying in WWF.
Yeah. In
Yeah.
WWF, it's like what? Like I don't know. I
Right.
don't know. I don't like fake gang like shit. I don't like fake
Yeah.
biker gangs. I don't like
Yeah. Yeah.
fake
Exactly.
Italian mob people.
Yeah, like Tony Marinara. But no, they were not cool with
But Disco
NWO.
is
I
funny
hated
here.
him. He's pretty
No, yeah,
hilarious
they
actually.
did not fit into the
No,
NWO.
no.
I
So
really did.
NWO with Jeff Jarrett on top, which I hated at the time.
They should have just
But
been their own Southern redneck crew
a
onto
bit like that
themselves.
would have worked better than the NWO. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, like, but Disco is pretty hilarious. He tells to them like, "Hey, like, you want a chance to get back on TV?" Like, he tells them that, and he ends up offering them like, so he's doing like a bidding war. He offered Chronic like money, but they didn't want money. They didn't want the little money that Disco had to offer them. But the Harris brothers are willing to do the job for a couple sandwiches and like a couple drinks. Like
Yeah,
I think he went to
sandwiches. That's what they wanted,
like he
dude. They
went to
had the
Dagwood's or
munchies.
something and got him a
That's it.
couple cold cut sandwiches. So yeah, that segment goes, I guess, okay. It was like supposed to be funny, I guess. We keep going. Luger
Two.
comes out to the ring for an in-ring promo now. We've had a lot
Right.
of promos on this show.
Yeah.
And he's wearing his total package, like his own clothing brand, I guess he had, where I don't know why he would like no one, I never seen that sold in the store anywhere. But it looked like he had his own clothing brand of like a hat and a hockey jersey with his like very short hair. He looks like a super buff dad.
He
Looks like
does. He
someone's dad
does.
who's like on
As a
roids. Like, is
coach,
that guy's dad on
he's a
roids?
exactly. He's a dad that teaches like gymnastics or wrestling, and he I think at that time he was having a lot of problems too.
Oh
At the
yeah.
time, yeah, he's having a lot of problems,
He
but he
was
was in great
so
shape.
huge here. Like
He
we said
was.
on Mayhem, he made he didn't make Goldberg look small, but he was noticeably more muscular than Goldberg.
Dude, he was very body like his bodybuilder. He was a
Oh yeah.
bodybuilder, man. Lex Luger definitely he did it right because he was in shape. He probably had one of the best physiques in
Ever in
wrestling. Like
wrestling, for sure.
Rick Rude as well. So very comparable to him. And but yeah, he was having problems. So that would play effect in a lot of the storylines because you don't know if he showed up late or if he was being a bitch
Having personal
backstage and
problems for sure.
you
For
know,
sure.
and I think he was with Liz at the time, right? He was with
Yeah, and like
Liz.
he had just had a bunch of time off, so like if he was on drugs, like he was probably
That's
just
it.
like doing nothing good, like
That's
nothing
it.
positive, right?
Not long after that, he got smacked with the DUI,
Yeah, I remember in high school,
the
there
mugshot,
was
the smokinggun.com,
smokinggun.com.
the
We used to look at that site quite a bit.
smokinggun.com.
There was the
Yeah,
Big Show, there was Lex Luger. Who else was on there? I think Jerry the King Lawler.
I think Steve Austin later on.
Yeah, when he beat Deborah, which like no one ever talks about that.
No, no,
He
but
got
he
arrested for
had
domestic assault on Deborah.
absolutely he had you also had Frank Sinatra. Remember that site today? They had a lot of the
Yeah,
celebrities
they
and
had
shit.
other celebrities. It wasn't just about wrestling. It was mostly about other things, but we were always laughing at the wrestling guys. So basically Luger is like remember how who was it? Russo was saying like Goldberg had sent him a letter and like blah blah blah
Yeah,
on
he
the
had to
Nitro
retire.
review.
Yeah, he had to
This was almost
retire
the
and
same kind of promo. Like Luger's like, "Oh, I won because clearly like Goldberg speared the ref last night," and the
right.
fans are like, "Boo!" So he refuses to admit. Oh, and like Mark Madden says, like Luger reminds him of Al Gore because he refuses to admit when he lost, which is such a like of the time.
Oh my God, it was a current remark. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Al Gore. That was pretty controversial. The election, by the way, the recount,
Oh yeah.
Florida, especially, dude. So it was huge at the time. And
And then George Bush, like
George
fucked the
W.
world
Bush.
up. Then there
By
was
the way, George W. Bush never wanted to be president. He just wanted to paint, dude. Okay, you could tell in his meetings, like in his briefings, he just didn't want to be there, right? So,
he
2000s,
just
another
wanted to be
story.
like a rich
Yeah,
guy's son, man. Like own a
that's it.
baseball
And
team.
he's so cool. I saw him in an interview not too long ago, a couple of years ago. I think with Jimmy Kimmel. He's
He's
likable
so
for
laid
sure.
back. He's like,
Yeah. He's like, I didn't want to do that. My father just shot me in the spotlight, kind of like Vince and Shane. But
I've seen
2000s,
some good
man.
documentaries about that. There's one called Vice, and it's about Dick Cheney, who was his vice president. And
I actually saw that.
It's good, eh? Yeah, and
absolutely,
it's Christian Bale playing him, playing Dick Cheney, and it basically shows how like all the guys working around George Bush were all basically doing his job for him. Like,
yes. Dude, he was out in his ranch golfing and just relaxing. I don't blame him. I don't blame him, dude.
Fuck.
So, now that I'm older, I understand. 2000s, bro. It was quite a lot of changes in the world.
Oh yeah, it was a different.
You see it in wrestling everywhere.
So Jimmy Hart comes on, and like, I really hope that like we don't end up seeing this happen on any further Nitros. But he's challenging local radio DJs to wrestle.
Yeah, he's still issuing challenges to DJs, man. Like, and I'm like, dude, that just reminded me of God Awful Man Cow that no one likes, by the way.
What, is
like,
he gonna
no one
bring
knows.
Out more of these other random DJs on these Nitros?
Yeah.
Dude, they're going head to head with Raw. There's no way anyone's watching this.
Bro, Raw had celebrities coming on all the time.
Exactly.
So,
and
like you can't.
You had like really good wrestling.
Like bring Howard Stern at worst. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you want to go big superstar? Don't bring Man Cow.
And once we don't need to see this happen again. It was already horrible enough once. Why would they want to do this again? It made no sense. So then we get Mean Gene backstage with Jeff Jarrett, and they're insulting each other back and forth, which was like quite hilarious. The Mean Gene with more attitude was a great character in this time.
He was cursing, bro. He had enough. He's like, yo, I can't, he's just like, but he used to talk shit to Natural Born Thrill. He started out with them, eh?
Yeah,
he's like, up yours, gentlemen, up yours. So he's getting rough. I like that. It was it's a good time to revamp old school.
Jarrett here calls him a geriatric slap ass.
Geriatric, I do. It's a good one, bro. They egg him, no? The filthy animals.
Yeah, so so then in the middle of the interview, something hits Jarrett and he's like, what the hell? And then from far away, the camera spins and you see the filthy animals throwing eggs at Jarrett. And yeah, he gets egged. I remember in Sec 1, in those days, on Halloween, I would egg the fuck out of like houses while going to get candy. Egging was a thing that I was down with at the time.
Absolutely, I do remember. I think we not got in trouble once. They came to the school and they're like, someone threw eggs. There was eggs going around. Remember this came?
Yes,
and
there was
they never solved.
There was a lot of eggs going on. I remember once there was also a classmate of ours named Greg Pike who wanted to get in on the egging fad in high school, and he brought an egg with him on the bus in his pocket. And guess what? The egg broke, and he was wearing those beige uniform pants we had. So he had like a egg stain on his pants.
Oh my God, I remember. And it must have stunk too, man. And yeah, good days for real. I remember that he was stuck with that, and it smells. You know what egg smells like,
I think
bro?
he was probably like on your bus too, because he lived.
It was It was the 213, dude. So I remember because it stunk like egg. And we used to do this at the end of the summer. Remember? It was not nice of us, but we would throw it on the people we wanted to give a hard time to. I
found out where a couple of my teachers lived, and egged their houses for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And so Chambly administrators, you guys are watching this. We were part of the egging crew, and we egged a lot of houses around the school.
Made some good omelets out of some houses.
Exactly, man.
So backstage, okay, here's something that like totally makes no sense. Okay.
So Big Vito.
Yeah. Big Vito and Marie, they're backstage. They show up, and then Reno sees her and says he's got to talk to her. But like, okay, I'm just going to give a little spoiler alert for the rest of the show. That segment is fucking pointless because we never see Big Vito for the rest of the show. We never see Marie for the rest of the show. Like, what was the point of this?
There is absolutely no point. He's like, oh, I'm scheduled to work today. I'll just make a little appearance for 3 minutes and then I'll go home. That's exactly what happened, dude. Or they forgot midway writing.
Yeah, they're like, you got to do that segment of you showing up, and then like maybe they erased his match later, but then they forgot to
You
erase
know,
his
they're like, hey, you
segment.
got paid already for this.
Like, you
You
better
have to do
fucking
this.
film it. It's like,
Yeah,
that
like do
makes
an
no sense.
appearance, and
You
at
want to
worst you
get
can leave
fired?
after that, man. So
Exactly.
that was super random. We see Reno, obviously, he does wrestle
He wrestles
our
later,
boy.
but
Yeah,
it has
so for
nothing to
sure.
do with the segment.
Exactly, like not even in the same storyline. So super just random and pointless again. Honestly, they might as well have followed it up with a match of some sort, but no, they come
Yeah.
in and out, and then Reno stays behind. And the Marie thing, like this was so what, like the Italian, it was the
Stop dating my
Italian
sister,
connection.
bro. You're looking
Yeah,
at my
it's like, hey,
sister.
I'm gonna whack you, I'm gonna throw you over Saint Knock. Don't fuck with us. No, but super random again. I like Vito, don't get me wrong. Reno too was cool, but again, pointless, and they're trying to cram a lot of shit for no reason.
That's it. And like, it's not going anywhere. This segment was completely pointless. So then we get another match. So a tag match. It's Jamie Noble and Evan Courageous taking on who is supposed to be Disco and Alex Wright, but it's going to be Alex Wright.
That's right. And Ron Harris.
With one of the Harris brothers, while the other one sits on a folding chair and eats a sub, which I just found that part funny.
Dude, Dagwoods. I feel like eating Dagwoods now, for real, bro. That nice
Dagwoods
sauce.
is good. And you know where
amazing.
Dagwoods used to be? Right beside Toys R Us.
It was, dude. Dagwoods, Toys R Us. But you liked subs. You and Cedric. You guys would come to the Champlain
Subway.
Mall. Yeah, good old Subway. You used to ask me for cups, and then you'd go to the SAQ right after. I remember that shit.
Walk around the mall drinking, and you're like, what?
Dude, it was 2004.
You do that on like a Friday night. You'd be like doing like a closed, like, you know, and then like the mall's not even open that late. Like, what the hell was I even doing there? I think we got drunk at the mall and then went to go see a movie after or something.
Here, I'll tell you a secret. Friday nights, what I used to do, I used to bring a little bong and I'd hit it in the freezer. That was a mega freezer, and do the order would, you know, instantly disappear. So I'd hit the bong in the freezer and then take a bunch of subs home.
Genius. That's genius. And here's a one side note thing. I seen at some ghetto store in Longueuil near my house, which is some like bread store that they call it. And they sell like, I guess, bread that's about to be expired, but it's not expired yet, but they sell a bunch of random food in there. And the other day I went in there and they just had like Ziploc bags full of chicken nuggets, and it's written from McDonald's in Sharpie on the bags, $5. For sure, these were stolen from some employee from McDonald's who stole a box of nuggets and sold it to this store. So if anyone wants to make homemade chicken nuggets, go on Saint Helene Street in Longueuil in front of the Boucherie Longueuil. There's a store and you can make your own homemade nuggets from McDonald's.
So, dude, you have actual frozen Mickey D's nuggets being sold at a local store in Longueuil. Talk about copyright infringing products, bro. That's crazy, and that's quite random, dude. I will go check it out. How much was the bag?
I think it was like $4 or 2 for like 7 or something for like a Ziploc bag full.
Yeah, for sure. Because the trio for
like
chicken
30
nuggets.
Say for like $7, you get like 60 nuggets.
Right.
So here, I don't remember this ever happening. Like at the end of WCW, I don't remember this at all ever happening. We get a glacier is coming, bloods runs cold.
Oh shit, I forgot about that. Yes, so dude, it randomly in the middle of nowhere, the last thing you're gonna think of is they did the vignette, the Mortal Kombat-esque. I think it was the same vignette, or no, they reshot another one.
It was
like a more new gen.
It was exactly the same, but they just changed the writing.
Okay, so they changed the font, but it was the same one from 1996. Oh my god, dude. When I saw that, I shat my pants.
Exactly, because the Glacier promos had started exactly the same week as the NWO angle started, and it lasted for like 6 months. It was such a buildup, and it was like the one thing on the show that was a flop. Everything else on WCW at early '97 was amazing, except
the Glacier and the whole Mortis thing. But I mean, yeah, man, dude,
at one point,
it was so random.
At one point, I believe in '99, they brought Glacier back as a different character. And I think he only wrestled on like Saturday Night and maybe on Nitro once. He never did any pay-per-views. And he was a gym teacher with short shorts and a clipboard and a hat. it's like almost not memorable. I'll send you the link of it, or we'll definitely go over that again.
For sure, super jobber. But I just want to ask, why out of nowhere in 2000 they
Are we
you're in
bringing back
November
Glacier?
bring Glacier? Like, was that gonna save your product? What the fuck was going on right there? And
I
the whole
don't know
Mortal
what they were
Kombat era
thinking
was, you know, it died in 98, 99, right? Like,
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
was
like
still,
no
don't
one
get me
was
wrong.
playing Mortal Kombat in
No,
2000.
no,
Do you
absolutely not.
remember
So
this? The N64 Mortal Kombat was horrible. Mortal Kombat 4, and then they brought out that Sub-Zero game, which was like
the
broken.
mythology one, it was terrible as shit, dude. It was a
Yeah.
single player, and you played as Jax, I think, or no, that was another one. So that was there was a Sub-Zero one where you were Sub-Zero and doing the story, and then there was another one they launched with Sonya Blade and Jax.
Yeah, I think you're just it's like a beat 'em up, but like
Yeah, some
hybrid.
shit like that. It wasn't a traditional Mortal Kombat, so by that time it was not dead, but it wasn't as
No.
as it was
And
in
even the
96, 97.
commentators are like, what? Like, this is
Yeah,
like
probably, dude. They were
ridiculous.
confused. Like, what the fuck? It was kind of amusing seeing it
No, for
recently
sure.
when I saw.
And I can't wait to see what's going to happen with the storyline on the future Nitros. Like, is Glacier really coming back?
Hilarious. Mortis will come back too, dude. Will Wrath come back? Will Chronic?
That's it.
You know, so.
James Vanderbeek.
Oh yeah, awesome, bro. And him in the cane. He was a scary guy too.
I didn't mean another 2000 celebrity, James Vanderbeek.
No, we're not talking about Dawson's Creek here.
We're not talking about the guy who hung out with the pie fucker in Jane Silent Bob Strike Back.
He did fuck the pie. They told his mom that they had to eat it, bro. So I mean.
Yeah. So they show a limo and then they cut to a commercial. That's a 2000s trope. No one comes out of it. We see a limo. So then backstage, we see Flair at his desk. And he's like, I've made a decision about Goldberg. He's like, I seen that Luger actually pulled the ref in front of Goldberg.
Yeah, in the way.
So actually Luger is like at fault here. So I'm not going to punish Goldberg for this. So yeah, Goldberg's still alive and he makes a rematch. So we're going to have total package against Goldberg at Starrcade. So which isn't a very big, I mean, it was an okay match on Mayhem, but this is Starrcade. I don't think.
Yeah, like it's supposed to be technically the WrestleMania of their event, like their milestone event of the year. And I mean, I understand what they wanted to do, the big tough guy versus the big tough guy, Luger versus Goldberg. But Goldberg had lost a bit of momentum losing to Steiner at the time. So Steiner they were building Steiner as the next big thing. So you had Steiner being psycho, straight jacket guy with the pipe and banging all the freakzillas and all that shit. So
and it felt like eventually they would have to fight again. And like if Steiner wins that time, then it's like Steiner's like the new guy, right?
True, but I'm trying to wonder how much they paid Luger at the time, right? He was getting paid a lot of money for lackluster matches. Like he was a great wrestler, don't get me wrong, Lex Luger, legend for sure, but for what he was doing, like he was lazy too, bro.
He was
dad was lazy
for sure.
Yeah, my dad was built super lazy. He goes out and he just, and I'm surprised he wasn't wearing FUBU like you said. He was wearing his own ripoff of FUBU, right? Kind of with the hair, super
me some like young looking stuff. So
there you go. So they're still working on the Goldberg and Luger
build up. Yeah. We'll see how well it builds up over the month. So then we get the Insiders come out. They're the new tag champs after Mayhem the night before. The fans really want Hall. The fans are chanting, we want Hall. Their promo is alluding to like, maybe like one day we'll bring him back. Like if the administration like wakes up. Then the Thrillers come out to the Wolfpack theme to get some cheap heat, as they say in wrestling. Sanders like calls the fans a bunch of rednecks. Like he had some really weird,
like usual,
pretty funny sayings though. And
very 2000s.
We get the night before, Stasiak and Palumbo had lost the tag team titles to the Insiders. Now we get the Insiders defending the titles against Jindrak and O'Hare. Yeah. And the no one at ringside rule is still in effect, But we get even more interference, of course, in this match. And this time they use baseball bats on them, though, and they beat the hell out of DDP and Nash.
So
And I really have to drive this point home. I'm going to start counting now. Mayhem. Nash never left his feet in the match. Okay. In this match, Nash never left his feet in this match. He's not like, okay, if you would do this, if a wrestler would, on the independent scene here in Quebec, if a wrestler would have a match where he doesn't even leave his feet like this, any promoter would be like, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, dude. Like, you don't want to work. You're, what the fuck is this? And this is actually an insult to
wrestling in general.
To wrestling in general, to the talent who put their body on the line to train. So, dude, that was pure laziness. I don't know if it was because of his injuries as well, because Nash was known to have injuries in his knees, bro. He broke quite fast. Yeah, bad knees. I think it was a combo of that, but being lazy too, because you could see in his demeanor that he was super lazy, bro.
I mean,
and what
hey,
they threw punches.
The guy wrestled for like 10 years later.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, Nash, one of my favorites too. But man, like, yeah, I think he was just beat up. And what they do? What did they do in the match except give punches? That's all they did. They were just punching most of the time, dude.
Exactly.
They're like, hey, we get paid $1 million. I'm not gonna fucking throw myself over the rope. Fuck that. He's like,
yeah, but come on.
Like, I'm DDP, I'm Nash. Like, we're just here. This is enough. You know what I'm
saying?
But
DDP actually did put in the work, though. And
he did.
He's even older than Nash.
Yeah, and he carried it the last time, right? He did all the work in the match. Same thing.
So it's like DDP's carrying the load for both of them in this match, while Nash is just relying on the fact that he's like very popular. And you know what? Like, we're saying this now, but at the time, wrestling fans weren't as into like the moves as they are AEW fans today. Example, like, it's all about like the moves, like
high flying action moves, you know, just exactly. the entertainment of the athletics in the match, but rather more back in the day was about the names that you had in the storylines. It was all about the character, the storyline. So it wasn't about athleticism. It was really just about, oh man, so you have Nash, Gold, etc. So big difference, man, for sure. AEW, they pull off things we would never thought they pulled off back in the day. Sure. Even the style of wrestling has changed. A lot of people have incorporated martial arts, even independents, man. I've been watching a lot of people you work with. Great, man. They're doing great
like
stuff.
Mike Bailey,
yes, Mike Bailey, amazing, bro. Great stuff he's doing. So all these wrestlers, the new gen ones, are great talent. They've revamped the movesets.
Yeah, it doesn't resemble anything like a Kevin Nash match.
No. They retained the traditional, but absolutely not, bro. Like, those are just big guys, like robotic. Macho Man. We're talking about Hogan, Nash, Luger, bro. It's all the same movesets. Whereas today, it's so robust, and the talent today is super creative, incredible, bro. Honestly, nothing to say about that for sure.
Definitely. So then up next we get Goldberg versus Reno, and this is a typical Goldberg TV match, which I actually enjoyed watching, because like his pay-per-view matches, sometimes they would be like, it's not representative of Goldberg. Goldberg's supposed to run people over. That's what we remember Goldberg doing.
Yes. Yeah. Like, you're supposed to job to Goldberg, not be in a storyline that's heavy and gets personal and shit like that.
Like, you're wrestling Goldberg. Just get your ass kicked. Just
dude, it's in and out with Goldberg. Not so you're right there. Totally agree. Because it's weird to see him, and like the Lex Luger storyline. They're great, great wrestlers, icons, but trying to make it personal. I understood the thing with Russo and shit, career, I'm gonna end your streak, but this is where Goldberg belongs, is run through people, beat them in 2 minutes. You're basically jobbing to Goldberg. That's your job.
So he destroys Reno here.
Like that.
As we said, Reno, like, even though he's supposed to have some storyline with Vito and Marie, they have nothing to do with this match.
And he's wrestling Goldberg, so super random, bro, out of nowhere again. Again, you don't see Reno, you don't see Vito and Marie again. So again, n'importe quoi, man. Everything's thrown on.
And like somehow Johnny the Bull, I think, was involved in this storyline. but we don't see him anywhere. I think
No,
Reno might also still be technically part of the Natural Born Thrillers here. We don't see them
yeah,
yet.
yeah, we're confused there because like they had so many members and some of them drifted off doing their own thing, random thing, we'll say, and then we're like, are they still? I think they're still together
Yeah,
at some
yeah,
point. You're
yeah.
gonna see them in Thunder or some shit. I know they always come out. So another interference, right? We have Luger come out,
Yeah, Luger attacks. He
Goldberg.
attacks him with a chair and torture acts him. He basically like destroys Goldberg after the match.
Goldberg sells. Goldberg sold there.
Yeah.
He sold the torture rack, sold the injury, gives him a good rack. Filthy animals, cuts to them, have really
So
not much
basically, it's two segments of
to
like,
say.
like two segments of like top guys getting taken out, like Nash, Goldberg, and DDP all taken out. One thing I just want to mention during that match, they're really hyping Goldberg's book, which I remember getting that for Christmas. I got that for Christmas that Christmas. Goldberg, Who's Next? I think it's called, or I'm Next. And
Hey, yeah, I think you brought it to English class.
yeah,
And
probably.
we had that 1 hour to read with Mr. Adams. Shout out to Mr. Adams, who's a black belt, by the way.
Yeah.
He was a black belt in karate.
Yeah, he was. He was also
But I
a
remember
kind of like weird guy.
he was very weird. But I remember you bringing the book. It was the beigeish goldish book.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And two highlights I remember from that book. Goldberg, I remember his dad is a gynecologist. And another thing he says in the book, when he was a teenager, his mom had a greenhouse in the backyard and he used to grow pot in it. So Goldberg was a pothead as a teenager. And I remember reading that and being like, okay.
Dude, that's awesome. I just love Goldberg for that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, next, as you were saying, Filthy Animals are backstage with Okerlund laughing about egging Jarrett.
Those guys need some respect. Those new gen youngins listen to the rap music. Like Kurt Hennig would say, you can't spell crap without rap.
I find one guy who's starting to look a bit out of place in the Animals there was Kidman. I guess maybe just because we haven't seen him be booked. He's wearing like, he's trying to look like he fits in, but you can tell he's just probably like a normal white guy who didn't dress like that necessarily.
Peter Gruner definitely was, but he was good on his own. They didn't have to put him with the
He could
Filthy
have been
Animals,
like,
dude.
when he was cruiserweight and he left the flock, he was a superstar.
100%, and he should have kept on that road, even if he was, for the cruiserweight, maybe possibly later on, US title for sure. TV was thrown out, I think, by Hacksaw Jim Duggan. No, it was Scott Hall that threw it out in the garbage, and Hacksaw as a face.
Took it back.
Exactly, he found it. It was on the Thunder, by the way, if I remember correctly.
And then he only defended it on Saturday night, and
yeah.
I don't know.
And then you never saw it again.
Maybe we could review a Saturday night, but like,
dude, we'll do one. We wouldn't review Worldwide because Worldwide was, I think, just a highlight show, right?
Yeah.
It's a highlight of Saturday night and Thunder and
one match.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
we have to. Any shows like that we do, it has to be like a real show, not just.
Yeah. No.
We'll find one, fans, because
for sure.
This is worth watching, though.
We will.
You'll see some weird guys like Wildcat Chris Harris from TNA. He was in WCW. People don't remember that. A couple other like guys that people don't remember were
these were guys still training at the power plant, right?
Exactly,
so they used guys that was from a power plant.
At the end of Saturday night, they got rid of the guys like Mike Enos and stuff like that, and they just used power plant guys.
What about Fuller? Rick Fuller?
Rick Fuller, I think they got rid of him.
Yeah, but he used to be. I used to see him all the time.
Oh, he was always on Saturday
night. Fuller.
He was made one of the video games where they had like 60 guys. Wasn't he in like Thunder maybe?
Yes, he was. He was definitely. I think he was in Thunder, or I think he was in Mayhem as a hidden character as well.
There you go. One of them they had like why would anyone want to pick these guys?
Exactly, Mike Enos. Whoa.
Yeah, like he was in a game. What?
Super.
The Beverly Brothers didn't make it in a game when he.
No. Who made it? Mike Enos did. Actually,
there you go.
Yes,
it's like
Mike
so. There we go.
Kenny Chaos.
Yeah.
Doug Dillinger. Good old security guard, bro.
Yeah, you never even had a match, but you can make.
No, bro.
And
he used to get dropped all the time, anyways. But for sure, good security to have.
During a Clash of the Champions, a very old one. I'll find this one and we'll review this. Sting's having there's a ladder match going on. Sting's trying to climb in the ladder, but Doug Dillinger, for some reason, thinks that like he's a real security guard at the time because he was only like he was kind of a new guy at the time, and he was a real cop. So he grabbed Sting down, and Sting's supposed to be having a feud with Flair for the title, and Flair and a couple other heels are beating up a babyface in the ring. But as Sting comes up, Doug Dillinger pulls Sting down, and it dislocates Sting's knee, or like tears his ACL, and like puts Sting on the shelf for like 8 months. Yeah.
Oh shit, dude! What
That
the
was
fuck was he
Doug Dillinger
thinking there?
fucked up an angle.
Yeah,
big
dude, they
time.
must WCW must have been pissed at him. Sting must have been pissed. Like, dude, you can't even pull me down properly, and you injure me for 8 months. That's crazy.
Yeah, that was a crazy.
I'm sure that's when they're like, okay, you're never gonna go in the ring again. You're a security guy. We're gonna keep you around the
Have you
crowd.
knocking on Goldberg's door here.
Exactly. So this is where we're gonna put you. You knock on Gold. Probably got paid well for that too.
Apparently, he was also like kind of a rat. Like if people were smoking weed, he would like tell on them and shit like that.
Like Jamie from Chambly.
Jamie from Chambly, who tried to get me kicked out of school many times for smoking pot.
She was the Doug Dillinger of Chambly Academy.
She was, and she was just as fat and ugly as well. So Mean Gene backstage with Scott Steiner. Steiner goes to check who's in the limo. Of course, the 2000s limo trope. And it's actually full of women. M.I. Smooth, who was like, we've gone over his role at the time in the company. He was the limo driver. He says that limo's for Flair. So then Steiner just beats up Smooth, of course. He just keeps
for general purposes, always general purposes, bro. Gives him a pump handle,
a couple
pump
forearms
smash
to the back.
Yeah, pop, and you heard them. They were hard. They were bam, bam. Like Steiner didn't hold back, bro. Too much testosterone for sure.
Definitely. And then this was actually the match of the night that I thought would be a great match, like building up to. And this was like, I never remembered these two wrestling each other, so I was interested to see it. Rey Mysterio versus Jeff Jarrett. And I'll say this, Jeff Jarrett was the babyface in this match because the Filthy Animals are nonstop double teaming him the whole time.
Right. Yeah, that's weird. That's what I realized. I got the vibes of him being the babyface, and I fucking hated Jarrett, dude, from the day he came to WCW, man.
I mean, he had blonde hair, man.
Dude, he was an ultimate heel because of the blonde hair. If he had black hair, I would have probably liked him. I'd have been like, okay, he's just some other cowboy, But the blonde really didn't help.
One guy that I'll say that didn't show up on this show, who I think was missing, was the Franchise.
Oh yes, he probably took time off, bro.
Yeah, that's it. Or he was on Thunder or something.
Or some shit. He's like, look, I'll do my shift on Thunder. I'll come in for an hour.
I've been doing a lot of hard work here lately, guys.
He's like, So, yeah, exactly. We don't see him because he was basically always feuding with the Filthy Animals. So
exactly,
he was not there. I thought honestly, pretty good match.
I just hated all the interference. I'm like
the interference.
They're talking about how interference is going to be cut out, and then
they do it even more.
The whole show, it isn't. Every single match has interference, and then this match has ultimate interference. The ref sees them doing it.
Doesn't do shit.
DQ them. And then Jarrett loses by DQ after using the guitar. And then Mark Madden goes crazy about it. And then I think someone backstage, like whoever the producer was at the time or the boss, is telling him stop saying that. The fans are going to think the product's stupid. So then Shivani's like, calm down.
He told him. Yeah, exactly. He's like, hey, okay, yes, I realized that actually.
Because you're making the product look like shit. Like when I was a commentator doing commentary, even if the company would book something stupid that make no sense, I wouldn't be like, why are they making all the matches end by DQ tonight? You don't say shit like that.
Yeah, you're throwing your crew under the bus, dude. Yeah, your job is to sell it and to make sure that you look dumb at the same time doing that. So dude, you're insulting yourself. So yeah. Mark Madden was kind of he was controversial at times, bro. He had a big mouth.
Definitely.
Especially how he left.
Definitely kind of said whatever came to mind.
So again, but as you were saying, I only meant Rey Mysterio and Jeff Jarrett. It's good talent to have, but the match itself, and this
No,
is the
that's it.
example of the biggest problem at WCW at the time, bro, as those fucking interferences. Always happening. The rules were always bent. Like, okay, Jarrett was always low-key hitting people with the guitar and he wouldn't get caught. And this one, the spotlight was on him.
And
Madden
he
is an
gets
idiot
caught.
for even saying that, bro. Like, you can't do that. Like, we know the product is shit. Don't say it.
Yeah.
Back up.
Don't
Like
put a
Giovanni,
spotlight on the fucking
yeah,
big
like
turd that was
we
just laid in
know,
the
bro.
ring.
We know that it's crap, but you don't have to say it because this makes you look like a piece of shit.
It's
Or you don't
like
care about
if, say,
something.
back in the day, like we're talking about, you worked at Subway, you couldn't tell people, like, look, the fucking chicken teriyaki tastes like shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know, like we saw Rat next week. Go to Quiznos across. Like
There you
Quiznos
go, the
has some good
Dagwoods.
shit, you know, or Dagwoods, bro. But like
You
you
can't
can't do
do
that,
that.
man.
Exactly. Like, you got to be a company man at some point. And
Yeah,
he's
this
kind of trying to get himself over, which is not a good thing, but he was overall a good commentator, though.
true. So
I did
after the
like him.
break, Jarrett challenges the Animals to a six-man on Thunder. So now we're like, okay, I wonder who Jarrett is going to bring in as his
Tag team.
partners.
I
Yeah, because
predict the Harris brothers.
the Harris brothers, they ran because they were boys in the NWO 2000, bro, for life, you know.
Exactly.
So the
Another
Stargate
limo shows
opponents
up.
limo arrives, so we have more limos, bro. It was so big, 2000. It was fancy. I'm probably sure they were show offs. They're like, there's a phone in the limo. You can call people. That was super high tech back in
Yeah,
uh,
exactly. Car phones. And you
the
can have a
2000.
VHS player in your limo
Yeah,
with a little mini
yeah.
2-inch
We
TV screen.
we saw some of that in Home Alone 2. Remember when he's in the hotel and then he goes to eat his pizza and he had a TV, bro? That was huge.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
he was watching The Grinch, by the way, in
Yeah.
the limo. So it started out in the 90s and they kept it all the way to 2000. Like it's impressive, right?
Yeah. But, like, dude, limos were like, even by mid 2000s, I'd say they were like out of style. Like, at
Sure.
one point, I don't know what I remember, like Paris Hilton, when she was at the height of her fame, Escalade limos had come out. And that was like the last time I ever remember limos being popular. I'm sure they just
Yeah,
cost too
big
much in
time.
gas today. People are
Right,
like, what?
right. Dude, an Escalade, a Cadillac, and yeah, it was the last big limo that we've seen. Like and then after that, no more limo.
No limos.
You
People
still
don't
saw it
drive
on
around in
WWF
Escalade.
though, like it would pull up, but they didn't focus on the limo. No, they did a lot, but not as much. I
They
think I
phased
find
it out,
after.
though. They phased it
Yeah,
out.
they did phase it out cleanly. So
Yeah. So then we're at our main event. The big bad booty daddy, the genetic freak, Scott Steiner, world champion, putting his title on the line against Stevie Ray, who comes out here all alone.
we know
And
what's gonna happen.
exactly. I mean, it starts out as a brawl. They're brawling on the outside before the match starts. So Steiner basically beats the hell out of Stevie Ray before the bell starts. Medeja's even hitting him with the steel pipe, which she was always carrying around.
Right.
And then the match kicks off in the ring. So Stevie Ray's already at a disadvantage. He gets a bit of a comeback, and then inevitably the bad guy wins. Notice that that's a very similar formula. Any match that starts out with the good guy beat up and the bad guy winning, it always goes that way.
Yeah, he always gets the upper hand. You know, usually it's the good guy gets his ass kicked all the way to the end, makes a comeback, takes a lead, and then
and
out of
then it's
nowhere
like,
pulls
and then
the.
at the end it could be like either way. Like that's
Yeah, you know,
yeah,
and when they won, you'd be like, oh shit, yes, because they would keep
exactly.
you on your toes. So you knew from the get go, Stevie Ray got a good shots in. It wasn't gonna end like that. It
That's
was
it.
always the reverse. You get your ass kicked and then you lose.
And at the
To be
time,
honest,
like Stevie Ray was nowhere near the level of Scott Steiner.
no, because don't forget in 93, 94, you had one of the best tag team feuds ever, bro. You had Harlem Heat go up against the Steiner brothers.
Yeah,
So
that was
this was
great.
legendary, bro. And all tag teams, I think anyone will agree that legendary tag teams, Harlem Heat, the Steiner brothers, 93, 94, and I think later on,
I
even
think
97, they had
even
matches,
when,
98.
remember in early or late 99, when Harlem Heat joined back up before they broke up again.
Yes, they
I
did. There was a
think-
point where
I think that the Steiners had teamed back up again too, and I think they fought again, but
they
with their
did.
new characters, like they all look different.
Absolutely, absolutely. So they did come back and as not revamped, but they were different for sure. And I
Revisited.
think that's when Scotty started growing. I think was it possible a little goatee or no, not yet.
No, he did.
Yeah, he had his long hair, black hair, and then he had his little goatee.
I think he was already blonde, and then
Yeah.
I think it was
Oh
when
yes,
Rick
yes.
Rick had turned heel, and Rick turned part of his beard blonde.
Yes. So
and he
they were
started
matching.
coming out to a generic version of "Welcome to the Jungle" by Guns
Welcome
N'
to the
Roses.
jungle. Yes. So now that unlocked some memories, bro. Absolutely did go down. So, but
That
to be
version
honest,
of Rick Steiner when he feuded with Sting and made those dogs attack him backstage.
Yeah. This the stupidest segment I've ever seen.
There
Plus,
was-
Sting was wearing a pad. Remember, he was
Yeah,
wearing
and
a
it
pad,
was
like
so
literally
obvious.
for it, and it was just, dude.
And it was
They
around
just
the same
traded
time that WWE did the Kennel from Hell. Like, stop
Yeah.
trying to use dogs. Like, it's just
Like leave them be,
man.
bro. They're doggies, man. Leave them.
Fuck, that's
So,
it.
gets him in the recliner, beats the hell out of him, wins. Yeah, there's no defending. I think this was one of the worst matches, to be honest, because it was clear, bro. Stevie Ray had no business being in the ring.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So
especially compared to what was going on Raw. Like, come on, no one was gonna be like, "Oh, this Stevie Ray match is gonna be like way better than like
oh my
Austin
god,
and Undertaker and shit."
what was Raw? What was Raw pulling at that time? Like, what was the episode for that one? If you could just check it out, because you could just compare how good Raw was. Like Raw, I couldn't wait all week.
Oh yeah, at this time, Raw was like, I would never miss the paper.
I would never miss it. I would
the main
miss
event
Nitro
of this Raw. I would just look it up. The main event of the Raw that is going against Stevie Ray versus Scott Steiner. WWF had Steve Austin defeating Kurt Angle by DQ for the WWF title.
Oh my god, dude! Steve Austin and Kurt Angle, one of the biggest heels of 2000. A great
and
talent,
another
dude.
big match on that Raw. You had Undertaker defeat Kane by DQ, and you had Jericho and the Hardy Boys defeat Benoit, Malenko, and Saturn.
Oh my god, dude! How can you
Those
even
are almost
compete with that?
level match.
Dude,
Well,
these were
pay-per-view
pay-per-view level match, dude. This was a great roster. I can't believe they actually tried. They thought they had. No, WCW knew they didn't have a chance, bro.
No, that's
they watched Raw in the back.
I think we all knew it. WCW at this point was almost like LOL WCW.
LOL LMA. Oh, bro.
LMAFO or whatever.
Laughing my fucking ass off, bro. It's pretty sad.
I would still be watching Nitros, like, because as we said, Nitro in Canada at the time, you could watch it Tuesday. You could either watch it, it would play right after Raw.
Yeah.
On the same channel on TSN, or you could wait after school on Tuesday. That's when I would watch it.
Yeah, me too. So I'd cover both. That's why I didn't mind missing Monday Nitro.
No,
like when it played on
exactly.
Monday, I didn't care because I would watch it the next day. Plus, I was too busy watching Raw. I love
it. Raw was so good at the time.
Yeah, like it was too good, bro. You couldn't take your eyes off the screen.
But I will say that match sucked. But they ended the last 5 seconds of the show.
Yes,
quite interesting. We find out who is going to be Steiner's opponent at Starrcade, and we find out who WCW is bringing back, because this isn't Hogan or a guy that had been under he had been under contract, but it's not someone you predict necessarily. Who do they bring back? And tell them exactly how the segment goes, Stinger.
So as the show's actually finishing, Steiner just won. He's about to get on the top rope and put his arms up. Sid Vicious's theme plays, and then you see Big Sid, bigger than ever, wearing a black jacket, I think, or a long sleeve. And that's how the show finishes. You find out that Big Sid Vicious, who was once feared as the Millennium Man, when he came in '99, they heavily put a lot of spotlight on him because he
was a big star in WWF too.
He was a huge star. So literally credits hit, you see him stand, and show's done. So I actually forgot that he came back. So when I saw that recently, I was hyped up. I was like, oh shit, yes, Sid Vicious comes back. He might be the one that's going to dethrone Steiner
at Starrcade.
at Starrcade.
Yeah.
So
So that's the feud that we're building up for. We're going to see how that goes over the next Nitro. What did you give this Nitro overall?
all right, so I was pretty disappointed. I'll be honest, dude. I gave this Nitro a 3 on 10, bro.
I also gave it a 3 on 10, just because there was some okay segments here and there, but I must say, overall, it lacked clean finishes. It lacked like there was this, it wasn't enough just good matches for me to hold me over.
Yeah. Plus, you saw Prez by this time, they've given up. It's clear they're just setting a bunch of rematches or stupid ass matches, bro, for Starrcade. They used Sid as an idea of a draw, which could have worked because when I saw him, I like do remember now when I saw him back in the day, I must have won ape shit because I'm like, oh,
Sid's
is
back.
is he gonna dethrone him or is they're gonna feed him to Steiner? Steiner is going to build, but I hated Steiner so much as a heel, like just because he was a heel. In my head, I was like, Sid's probably going to dethrone him. Also, the Goldberg versus Luger is happening again for absolutely no logical reason, bro.
So Starrcade is not shaping up to be that great.
Exactly, and then we're still gonna get the insiders, versus the Thrillers again, bro. Plus probably more ladder matches.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Probably Landstorm against Landstorm against the Cat.
They were literally trying their best, WCW. You can tell, bro, throwing out whatever old names they had. It's so long. It took them so long to get to Steiner, pretty much. They left Goldberg pretty much with Luger, bro. And I don't know. I don't know what to say. There's just
the ship is sinking in WCW here.
I think it's gonna get worse and worse as this Nitro goes on, bro.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Till the end.
So we'll definitely be back next week. As painful as it will be, maybe to watch, we'll keep watching these WCW shows.
Depressing.
There's always some kind of hidden gem coming out. So for the Stinger, I'm the Prez. We're going to wish you a good week and keep on loving that WCW from the Turner Podcasting System.